All right, this is Steve. It's Mother's Day, the 12th of May, 2019. I'm sitting here with my beautiful, wonderful grandmother, Mabel. And we are a little bit early to church, and we started talking about some of the experiences that Grandma had with Grandpa as they had just first gotten married and the war had started. And you guys were living in, Grandpa graduated from university, and then he was immediately put into was he in the Army?
Army.
He was in the Army, and you guys moved he was first in Virginia?
Virginia.
And you went to Virginia.
And we had a room with a bed and a hot plate and a professor's home that taught at a Negro college, just around the corner, and we were there for 3 months, and then we came back to Riverside to Camp Hahn, and we had.
When you say camp, is it Hahn or Pawn?
Hahn, H-A-H-A-A-N or H-A-N.
Okay, near Riverside, up in the desert in California.
Well, it's out by Marchfield.
Right. I know where that is now.
Yeah.
And you stayed there for a while, and then you had this funny thing where Grandpa would come home and he would say, "We're on shaky boards." Is that what was the phrase?
Yeah, that's my phrase. That was our phrase, because that meant that things were changing and we didn't know where or what or when. Only that they were coming.
And so, shaky boards, and it turned out that Grandpa got called to go to New Jersey, and he told you that he was going to have to go with the men and that you wouldn't be able to go with him. And if I understand right, too, that was with the understanding that he was going to go to New Jersey, and his group, the 65th Coast Artillery, was preparing to go to Europe.
Right.
And then tell us about what you said to Grandpa when he said that he was going to have to go with the men.
I said, "Well, how are you going?" And he said, "Well, on a train, on a troop train." And I said, "Well, then I'll go on another train. I'll go on a regular train." And then we found out that it was just going to be a car with the men in it. And so I just went on the train.
I love this. I love this about Grandma, because she's like, "Well, I can go to New Jersey." And so she did. And then you said that when the commanding officer found out that Grandpa's wife was on the train, what did he do?
Well, we had Linda, and
she was like 18 months?
She was 18 months old, and he said, "Well, I don't need this roomette here. You take it." So we did.
So they were able to have a room together on the train.
We had a big room. I mean, it had, well, it was a roomette, except it didn't have a kitchen.
Right.
But it had a bigger bed and bigger space around.
And this was on the train, or
on the train?
Yeah. So they were traveling in style because they played the baby card.
Yeah, we did.
And
we didn't. They just
loved her.
They just gave us the baby card.
That's a really fun story. And then what was it like? I was asking you, what was it like anticipating that Grandpa maybe headed off to Europe?
Well, we just didn't think about it. We just decided what will be, and if he goes someplace where I can go, I'll go, and if he doesn't, well, I'll go back to Logan. And then there wasn't anything we could do about it.
Right.
So
out of your control.
We just hoped that we wouldn't be separated, because Chris and Almeida, Charles' sister, he was sent to the Aleutian Islands and was up there for the whole war.
Wow. Yeah. That was
So
kind of the general sentiment at the time, was like you kind of had to do what you needed to do, and you didn't really have a lot of control.
we had no control.
Yeah.
None of whatever. They told us when we could be together, and told us where we could be together, and sometimes we paid attention to them, sometimes we didn't.
Oh, I believe we just heard that sometimes Grandma broke the rules. Is that what I heard?
Well, they weren't rules. They were just, I don't know whether they were rules or not, but
You did what you could to be together when you
we
could.
did what we could. If there was a chance, if there was a way we could be together, we did it.
That's great.
And if it was against the rules, we didn't know the rules.
And then you found out that you weren't going to be called to go. Grandpa was not. Well, so you said many of the men did end up going to Europe.
Yeah. Most of the 65th Coast Artillery did. But he'd been transferred out to, I can't remember.
He was transferred out, but you guys ended up coming back to Los Angeles, right?
No, we went to North Carolina.
Oh, from there you went to Carolina.
We went to North Carolina, and we went to Louisiana, and we went to Fort Bliss,
Okay.
which is in Texas.
Wow.
And when we got there the first time, we thought he was going overseas, and I went home for a couple of weeks, and then we found out that he wasn't going to go overseas right then. So then I went to Fort Bliss,
Right.
and we stayed there until, oh, I don't know, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, now it's 2019. You're 99, and it's been 70 years since then.
Yep.
60, I can't do the math. A long time.
A long time.
As you look back, can you see the hand of the Lord in your family's life?
Absolutely, because there was no, Charles would be the only one that would be sent to a 6-week school somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'd be the only one out of maybe 3 that went somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going with the group, why they kept sending him to schools, to classes, to because he had experience in the Coast Artillery, which was
Mm-hmm.
trying to correlate between the ground and
The air.
plane.
Yeah.
They kept transferring him back to it. Other people would be put it here, there, or someplace else, but he finally ended up in the Air Corps.
Yeah. Well, now, Grandma, you have great-grandchildren beginning to be in the same place you were, not necessarily with a war going on, but newly married,
Yeah.
with young children or considering having children, having different struggles in their lives, going through those first few years. Any advice for them, looking back on what does it take to, I love the way you did what you needed to do to be together. I love that phrase. Any other advice that you'd give to them, or things to remember?
Well, just don't let somebody else tell you can't do something. If just because most people don't do it that way. I mean, if some of the wives, if they told some of the wives they couldn't go, they went back home to their parents. But we said, well, we don't have to do that. We can be together.
I love that. You did what you needed to do to be together, and in the long haul, I'm so grateful to you and Grandpa for being together and for being my grandma. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
I love you so much.
I love you.